Hey, John, Happy New Year. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you as always, Scott. How are things going today?
Oh, they're never a dull day, never a dull day. Just stepping around snowbanks and navigating the world of digital experiences at the same time.
Wow, stepping around and navigating. That sounds like a mantra that we could actually use for both our personal lives as well as our professional context.
You got it, buddy. You got it. So how's the new year starting off for you? What are the kind of conversations you found yourself in so far?
Typical conversations, but I do find that everybody's looking, putting their foot to the pedal and trying to go really fast. And so that's refreshing in our industry because, we come off of, the end of the year where some people are slowing down, others are prepping to be able to move forward. But I found that the conversations that we were having in Q4 of last year are all really starting to take root. And now that they're taking root, people want to go fast, and we're positioned very well in order to be able to help them go fast. So that's been very exciting. But I'm also finding that there are some of the typical conversations that we were having last year related to AI, and in particular generative AI and how people optimize for it. Those are starting to emerge again. I'd love to talk to you about that.
I've had 2 meetings already this year. Like the first week of the month, we were still on vacation, on holiday. And so really it's only been about one business week. And I've gone in to sit down with 2 different clients to try and help them wrap their head around AI discovery, like the AI equivalent of SEO. We're calling it GEO. Yep. So is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. And in fact, I would go back to middle of the year last year. We started talking about generative engine optimization. In fact, I started to talk about omni engine optimization, being everywhere. And what I found just from where we were 6 months ago to where we are now is that the conversations similar to what we talked about before have taken root, but I think they've also exposed a few other misconceptions about what's going on.
Keep going. Tell me what you're finding.
Somebody actually one of the conversations led with, "Hey, AI broke marketing." And I'm like, AI didn't break marketing. I think it actually exposed who was never actually creating value, right? So what I think about it is that, for many years, B2B companies told themselves kind of a comfortable story. And it was that SEO was a technical function and content is a marketing deliver. And product data is, relegated to the PIM team. So it could have been an IT problem, or it was an e-commerce problem, or it was a merchandiser's problem. I think everybody was comfortable with the fact that as long as traffic was constant, or hopefully it went up, right, and leads started to trickle in and new customers were acquired, no one asked the hard questions. But what I find is that now organizations have avoided, some of the really important topics. They weren't looking at their content as a way to create knowledge, right? They were just publishing catalogs. They weren't educating customers. They were optimizing pages, and they were solving for that one person who came in each and every day, as opposed to becoming knowledge experts. And that's where I think that marketers have failed. That's where e-commerce leaders have failed, is they haven't thought about their content as a strategic advantage that they should be leveraging. And those are the clients and the organizations that I'm seeing have seen such a big drop off over the course of the last year in their traffic. What do you think about that?
Yeah, in their search traffic.
Yes, in their search traffic.
Yeah. Well, I guess direct traffic as well would fall off there also. Okay, so 2 thoughts. One, I couldn't agree more. 2, it's a consequence of the fact that people are seeing that traffic drop off because of the different behavior and journeys that you get from a referral from AI versus a referral from Google. So people would have to click through, do their own research, and they might stick around or disappear. Whereas it's a much more informed visit that you get from AI. So the quality of the visit is much higher, but the quantity is lower. So generally speaking, we're still early days in this whole experiment, but conversions don't seem to be changing. So you're getting a higher conversion rate off of less traffic. But when you do see this general drop in traffic as a result of the fact that we're just not getting as many referrals to begin with, it surfaces that problem that you just described about not having invested in content and thought leadership from the marketing departments that should have been getting done all the way along. and we're waking up going, whoa, where'd my traffic go? But it's a correlation, right? It's actually not a causation. And we're noticing at whatever, it doesn't matter that it's not causational. People are still going, oh boy, I forgot about that, or they're looking at it as something brand new they have to think about, which is fine. It doesn't actually matter how you arrived there. Great, congratulations, you made it. We're still going to work on the same thing. We're going to talk about fixing that content gap, adding that strength in your thought leadership, and grounding sort of the way you show up, your brand strategy.
Yeah, it's really forcing the conversation that we should have been solving all along to the forefront, because I think AI engines don't care about the keyword strategy or your backlink profile. They actually care about what helps a customer make a better decision, right? And the information, the summaries that we're getting are all about who has gone through the process of making sure that they are seen as a knowledge expert. And so I think that that's part of the uncomfortable shift, right? Companies are no longer competing for page position. They're competing for credibility. And that's not a marketing problem. That's a content maturity problem. And so I think that's part of the hard truth, in particular for companies in the B2B, area, such as distributors and manufacturers that we tend to work with, right? The content wasn't written to help customers think. It was written for all the purposes of, filling category pages and, repurposing manufacturing copy and supporting sales scripts and checking that SEO box rather than actually, trying to solve the problem customers are dealing with.
Okay. So I agree with you. I get where you're coming from. I'm going to push back a little bit. I don't know that you meant to make the comment, but you said that like these AI models don't care about keywords and backlinks. They care about authority. So yes, they care about authority, but the way that you establish authority is by making sure that you're really intentional about what you say, who you're intending to say it to, and generating a reputation for the strength of what you're saying elsewhere on the internet. And that is grounded in a good keyword and backlink strategy. So I wanted to clarify that because the tactics that are required in order to make sure you're doing this right have not changed. It's still making sure that you're saying the right thing, you're directing at the right audience, and you're really intentional about focusing at your audience and your personas, and that you're making sure that you're engaging in conversation, elevating thought leadership, supporting the ecosystem around that theme, and not just trying to broadcast a message.
And I love the pushback, and I'm trying to get people to think about this and trying to ultimately get to this notion of, right, your site and your content should all be focused on kind of why a product or a service matters. It should talk about when it should be used. It should talk about the trade-offs that exist and how this product actually creates value and how it performs in the real world, right? Because I don't want people thinking that AI engine optimization, is a marketing trick, right? It's really a spotlight on whether you've got real marketers and e-commerce leaders or content operators, right? Because I think the great ones have always understood customer intent. They've translated that complexity into clarity. They've built trust through education, and they've turned expertise into demand. And AI didn't replace any of that. It just started to reward it. And so I want to make sure that we elevate the people that are thinking holistically, and that we expose the people that haven't been thinking about that, because that's the content that is actually not generating value moving forward. So that's my thought process.
Love it. And so just to sort of tie a bow around it, you said at the beginning, it's really about having an omni-channel perspective on this. It's like, we shouldn't be thinking of this in terms of how do we get more traffic from the AI model. We should be thinking of this from how do we just get more traffic and help more people and be more sincere and be more genuine and be more appropriate. And if we ground everything that we're doing and get more intentional about actually writing category descriptions and subcategory and landing page information and whatnot, so that it's there to generate that value, all that other traffic and search engine benefit is going to come from it, and AI referrals.
coming out of the holiday season, all the bows were supposed to be taken apart and all the packages released. You just put a nice little bow around this gift and actually made it really easy for people to actually digest. Thank you for that.
Those are your words. Thanks, John. Appreciate the chat as always.
Awesome to see you, Scott. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Cheers.